No, you don't understand, Darren says with an obvious desperation in his face. I need you to interfere. I can't fail her again. I need the power that only you can give me, the power to attack the noble. Oh, Aiden asked surprised. I honestly wouldn't have expected you to ask me for help so directly. Even so, there is no use in undergoing a trial if you're not going to solve your problems by yourself. I'm afraid then I'll have to decline your request, regardless of what may have happened. But what I may have done in your original timeline. So it's multiple timelines. Ooh. So it is time travel then. Oh, it's a proper time travel. That's good. It's proper time travel. They're not. He's not time traveling back to his timeline. He's time traveling to another timeline. But what happens to the Darren that exists in that timeline then? Does he have to continue whatever decision this Darren makes? That's something. Whatever. Damn you, Darren says. Do you want me to beg? Is that what you want? No, actually, I was Aiden start to say, but he interrupts himself when he sees Darren drop to his hands and knees in front of him with his head bowed down. Then I will beg, Darren says. I will beg on my hands and knees, even though I hate you with all of my heart. Even though I consider you as one of the most evil, irredeemable people I've ever met. But right now, you are my only hope to save this girl from a terrible fate, and the only thing I can do is beg for your help. So please, I'm begging you. Give me the power to save this girl. I will do anything you ask, no matter how humiliating it may be. Jeez, Darren is such a... I really don't want to use this phrase, but he's such a good guy. He's actually a decent person, which is something. I mean, you all saw what decision I made. Whatever. While Darren was talking, I could see Aiden slowly opening his eyes for a few seconds with an expression of both shock and amazement on his face. Then when Darren finished his speech, Aiden smiled slightly with his eyes closed. You will do anything I ask, you say. And then I only have one request. He pauses for a second as he gets a much more serious expression on his face. Prove me wrong, Aiden continues. Stillwater then raises his hands and a powerful wind starts spinning around him for a few seconds. This is the thing. When he says prove me wrong, he's actually talking about the fact that he thinks humanity is just like done for. Like there's no point in continuing, at least in the continent of Orathia, letting people continue living or whatever. He considers them like complete trash. Like in his eyes, every person on Orathia is just complete fucking garbage. And he couldn't give two shits about killing them or letting them kill each other. Prove you wrong, Darren asks confused. Aiden lowers his arm and when the wind around him stops. What do you mean by you have the power, healer? Aiden says. Now go before it's too late. Right, Darren says as he gets some from the ground, rushes towards the noble. How many second chances are you going to ask me for, foolish girl? I hear the Earl of Orange say, this knife in his hands. He's just going to have to do this again. What is the point of this? I guess this is the same fate I would have met as Barry if I had not figured out the second round through that what was actually happening in this whole situation, to be honest with you. But whatever. How many second chances are you going to ask me for, foolish girl? I heard the Earl of Olander say with his knife in his hand while Darren and Aiden were still having their conversation. Do you not realize that my mercy isn't without limits? I've had enough of your excuses. This time I will kill you for good. Don't you dare move from that spot. I won't let you kill her, you bastard, Darren shouts as he rushes toward the noble with his sword at the ready. What the hell? The Earl says, just as he was about to slit the girl's throat. He turns to look towards Darren. The noble barely has time to turn around because Darren's blade beheads him in an instant, and the Earl of Olander, headless corpse soon fall to the ground next to its severed head. One of the questions I have is, in the perfect playthrough, how much different is this going to be? Because in the perfect playthrough, we saved this girl because Barry takes the power. Is it going to be one of those like, okay, so Barry moved before you, what sort of fucking hero are you? Is that going to be the different, thing with him then? Some sort of regret or something? We'll see. Okay, I did it. I can hear Darren thinking. I saved it. This time I didn't hesitate. I finally managed to make things right. All of a sudden, now all too familiar, white light fills the area around us in order to once again send Darren back to the beginning of the ritual. No, Darren shouts as the light envelops him, but nobody's listening to him, and after a few seconds he finds himself right back where he started, with the noble still alive and kicking. Oracle laughs. The idiot actually thought he completed the trial. Can you believe that? Imagine what the shock on his face will be when he realizes that the slave actually needs to die for this ritual to end. Is his ritual the same as mine then? I ask her. He needs to recreate the same events that happened the very first time in order to succeed. Yes, most of the rituals were made in the same way. Araka says if he wants to pass the trial, the first thing he'll need to do is to calm the hell down, because otherwise Aiden will always be able to tell that something is wrong from seeing the sudden fluctuation in his aura. Then we'll need to refuse Aiden's offer once again and try to convince the noble of his errant ways, which will eventually lead to the slave's death. Well, I'm sure he'll figure it out eventually. Come on, let's go visit some of the other trials. What happened? I hear Darren's thoughts in the background. What did I do wrong? What does this ritual want from me? And our next destination is the Beacon of Hope. Araka says, hold on tight, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Nah, I'm just kidding, we're already here. Alright, as I look around, I see that our environment has changed completely in a matter of seconds, and we are now situated in the middle of a very dark underground corridor, which only a few dimly lit torches to provide us with any light. Almost immediately after we arrive in this place, we can hear the screams of a young boy echoing somewhere in the distance, and then we hear a little girl screaming in pain as well, although she appears to be somewhere closer than the boy. Not long afterwards, we start to hear the terrified screams of a few other children as well. Some of them are begging for mercy, some of them are trying to suppress their screams, and others are calling in vain for their parents to save them. I've heard the stories about this place from Kate and Layla, but I never would have imagined it was as bad as this. Just standing here and listening to all these screams is giving me goosebumps all over my body. I can't even imagine to begin what it would be like to experience what those children are going through right now. I mean, you are crushed multiple times by a god of time, so I'm guessing it's probably not as bad. Maybe not as bad, who knows. Where were we? I can't. Yeah. Through experience the children are going through right now. Well, he didn't do it as a child, I suppose. But these Lassetti sure weren't messing around, huh? Araka says. It's like a whole symphony of horrified screams down here. Anyway, this isn't exactly where I wanted to bring you. I'm just gonna need to take a quick look around and see what your friend Kate has been doing since the beginning of this ritual, so I can spare you the boring details and get right to the good stuff. I'll just leave you to enjoy these melodious sounds of pure agony while I do my thing, okay? Melodious sounds of... These are children that are screaming here. I shouted at her. What the hell is wrong with you? To be perfectly honest, I don't really care. I couldn't care less about screaming children, Arga says. It's a psychological kind of torture that I usually tend to find amusing, not the physical one. That's why the real entertaining part for me is to see your reaction to all of this. Why else did you think I went through all the trouble of bringing you with me in these trials, if not for my own entertainment? But you were just bored and decided to bring me along on a whim. I still don't understand how I can find entertainment in such things. I mean, I kinda get it, to some extent. But sure, since there's no option like that, so I'm just gonna go with that. I still don't understand how you find... I mean, I do understand that, so that's kinda difficult to pick. I thought you were just bored and decided to bring me along on a whim. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Nah, Attica says, that's Aiden's stick, not mine. I know it may not seem like it most of the time, but I rarely do things without a reason. For example, I especially chose this moment in time as an initial destination because I knew they were going to be doing experiment at this hour and there would be a lot of screaming going on. It just would have felt like a waste if I kept you waiting in a silent, empty hallway, you know. I say, just shut up and get us out of here already. Easier said than done, Araka says. I may be a genius when it comes to magic, but you still can't expect me to comb through all these events that have been happening here in a matter of seconds. It's not like I can get to connect myself to the Magium like this on a daily basis. You keep casually talking to me about the Magium, but you haven't even told me what it is yet, I say. That's the joke, Berry boy, Araka says. I keep doing it because I know it frustrates you. It's a good way to keep myself from dying of boredom while I go through the tedious process of scanning these memories. Can you at least tell me how you are able to switch between past and future with so much ease, I ask her. And how is it that you can also access people's memories and transport us into them as if they were part of our reality? When you're linked directly to the Magium in the way we are now, Araka says, the terms like past, future, and memories and reality becomes irrelevant. In here, everything is both real and imaginary at the same time. Allow me to demonstrate. A giant red serpent with 2 wings and 4 small claws suddenly appeared in front of me, and it immediately flew towards me with a menacing look in its eyes, while his whole body is surrounded by flames. I panic a little and jump back, trying to pull my dagger out, but the monster scratches my right leg with one of its claws, then disappears just as quickly as it made its appearance. Araka, what did you do? Flowers asked, shocked, as Eluna approaches me in order to heal me. I mean, that's the funny thing. They have not talked at all since the start of this. Flower has not said a word. Relax, Araka says. Neither of us can die in here. The scratch right now didn't hurt, did it? Another dimension, I suppose it didn't. I say as Luna suddenly stops healing my wound, realizing that I was never in any real danger. That's because these aren't our real bodies, Araka says. They're just our projections. Our real bodies are still right where we left them, stuck in one of those weird trances with the glowing eyes. What I was trying to show you was that I can do whatever I want while we're in here. It's like my own playground. Obviously, I can't interfere with that, what your friends are doing, since we don't really exist in their world. But as far as spectating goes, my options are unlimited. So you're saying that my friends can die either. Is it just an imaginary world right now? No, this only applies to us because we are projections, like I said. Araka tells me the world that your friend have been transported to are very much real, so that they are not our worlds, they are parallel worlds. So this is the parallel world theory. Okay, yeah, that would be better than what I was thinking, the infinity world theory. There are parallel worlds similar to ours in which the future never actually happened. Obviously, none of the changes that these make in those worlds will affect our world in the slightest. But they have no way of knowing that. Didn't you find it strange that you managed to pass your own ritual, even if it would have been impossible for you to perfectly reproduce the exact actions you took 15 years ago down to the last detail? That's because it wasn't the law of time preventing you from doing that. What you wanted is just self messing with your head. So what's happening is that we are in alternate realities, but obviously we can't exactly we cannot like make the same, like take the same footsteps. I don't even remember if I took the right step first or left step first, how much dust went off when I put my foot down, how hard I ran at what point. So obviously whenever Selgrim is satisfied with the result, he just goes like, okay, trial's over.